This video was recorded with the AverMedia Live Gamer Portable. Skip it up and that up. So this video's shout out goes to Black Bond. He actually didn't send me an article, but I watched a video on his YouTube channel. I'll have a link below to his channel in the description. TechFeed had a video where they had Dan Shu from GamesBeat and Adam Sessler from Rev3 Games. He also used to be on G4's XPlay. And they were talking about Microsoft, Sony, Nintendo, Ouya, Google's game console, a whole bunch of stuff. I'll have a link to the video below in the description. You can check that out too. It's like an hour-long video. But Adam Sessler said something very interesting about Nintendo, and I agree with, well, everything that he said. Take a listen.
Yeah, they forgot about the hardcore. Really, they forgot about everybody. I mean, there's an aspect about Nintendo where I love Nintendo. I grew up on Nintendo, but I'm starting to feel like a parent who paid for their child's college education and then they go into porn. It's like that sense of just like what has happened here? And you know, I don't mind seeing the lineup of games they had. Yes, it's complete copy and paste, but that's kind of what we want Nintendo for. Mm-hmm. But those games should have already been out. Yeah. That's what their first year's worth of games had to be. They just never made a case with any audience. And they have cases to be made. Do you want to play Mario? You got to play it on the Wii U. You want Zelda? You got to play it on the Wii U. But they should be made available. And this kind of pathetic way that they always go like, oh, we just didn't really plan for the launch of this console. You know, our games take a while to make. They've made this excuse so many times. They say, how have you not learned your games take forever to make? If you're going to launch a console, you should already be thinking about the games that are going to be out for it. They could have, you know, they had the market all to themselves for the past year, and they've done absolutely nothing with it. They're going to have Pikmin 3 come out in August, which is great, but Pikmin does not move consoles. Yeah. Mario and Zelda move consoles, and by the time that we may have Mario Kart, they're going to be competing as Microsoft and Sony, who have a lot more sex appeal than the Wii U ever will. I think the other thing is they need to fire their top management. I mean, this place is so inward-looking that that's what's allowed them to make these bad decisions over and over again. Iwata should go, Reggie Fils-Aimé should go. I'm not saying that they've necessarily done a bad job, but they need to get fresh thinking and fresh management if they're going to motivate this company to understand that the marketplace has changed and they need to compete in it. And I think by just holding on, not just to the past in terms of titles, but to the past in terms of management, is really what's allowing them to just repeat the same mistake over and over again.
Now, the first thing that Adam Sessler talks about with the games should have been out with the launch of the console. Who else said that a long time ago? I did in my Nintendo Drop the Ball Big Time video. They should have. Everyone goes on the defense and says their games take a long time. They make their games when they're ready. Those damn games should have been in development alongside with the hardware. I'm sorry. You know the games take years to make. They should have been working on those games from the get-go. Those games are what people want with the system. Like he said, you go to Nintendo to get the Zeldas and the Marios and so on and so forth. But they weren't there. All you had was games like Call of Duty Black Ops. Like, yes, okay, they had the third-party games. But the difference with this generation, with the beginning of the Wii U is the beginning of the 8th generation, is that the games on the Wii U were the same exact games that were on the 7th generation consoles, the PS3 and 360. Think back to other generations, and you'll understand what I'm saying in a second. When there was like Call of Duty 2 for the Xbox 360 when it first launched, and it was for the PC. It wasn't exclusive. It was exclusive to that console, but you could get it on the PC too. There was nothing like that on the original Xbox and the PS2. Yeah, there was Call of Duty on there, but it wasn't Call of Duty 2. It wasn't that next-gen HD game. These games on the Wii U, even though it's a next-gen console, it's the same game on your current gen systems. So there was no lust to get those third-party games for the Wii U because you're getting the same game on your current system. You understand what I'm saying? With other generations, you to see that next-gen jump, to get those next-gen games, you had to buy the next-gen hardware. Your current system was not touching the next-gen system, and the games were must-have games on that next-generation system. With the Wii U, it was just, okay, maybe they're a slightly higher resolution, but the games were exactly the same. And with a perfect example, with Call of Duty Black Ops 2, you actually got even though the graphics were a little bit sharper, you got a gimped version. It didn't have the same online features as the PS3 and Xbox 360. Now, the second part of that video is Adam talks about how they need to fire up a management at Nintendo and get some fresh blood in there. I agree. Nintendo just doesn't seem to get what people want anymore. They don't seem to understand that the industry has evolved so much. They just seem so stuck in the past because they have the same people working there and they're probably stuck in the past too. You have to get fresh blood in there. I'm not saying ignore Zelda and Mario. I know I said Mario in the rest of the video, but I'm not saying ignore your first party titles like Metroid, so on and so forth. But you have to, like I've said 1,000 times before, you have to make the Wii U the must-have console for third-party games and first-party games, and you need to make better decisions. And it just seems like I was watching a video, and I also read some articles on it too, where they had their shareholders meeting, and Nintendo was like, oh, we didn't know that HD games take so long to make. Nintendo, it's 2013. You've been developing the Wii U for a while now. You weren't, testing out, how long textures make and how much geometry you need and how many shaders and polygons, and you weren't doing that? Now it's like, oh man, these games, wow, these HD games take a while to make. You need new management. You need fresh blood that's forward thinking and maybe could bring something new to the table to really give Nintendo that boost that they need. A lot of people get very defensive of Iwata, but he's the CEO of the company that you love. Bring in a new CEO that can maybe do things better for your favorite game company. Nintendo will go on just fine without Iwata. Hell, they'll probably do even better. If he gets fired and you start to miss him and you want to spoon with him at night, then just find his number and give him a call. Hey, that could be like a new Nintendo game. We spoon with Iwata. Yeah, I just threw up in my mouth a little bit. Anyway, folks, make sure to rate, comment, favorite, and subscribe. And if you have an interesting news story you would like me to discuss, private message me with a link via YouTube. And if I use your news article, I will give you a shout out in the video and feature your YouTube channel in the description.